today we're going to look at a very popular transition and request, which is understanding the shoulder rotation that is needed for overhead flip grips. Usually our regular yoga classes, our vinyasas or our hattas or whatever flow you're going to, or even Ashtanga, does not cover the required time and space that is needed to understand the anatomy of what's happening in the shoulder to be able to achieve these transitions. Overhead flip grip can be used in a variety of postures such as Eka Pada Rajakapatasana, Dhanurasana and Natsyendrasana. Again, when we're going into studio classes, sometimes it's very quick and the teacher doesn't have enough time to break down the transition. So save this video, replay it and try it out. First of all, in order to get the correct rotation of the shoulder, I will simply demonstrate the hand movement that you need to do in order to be able to grip the foot. So for anybody that is new to overhead flip grip is being able to catch your foot from behind you and then bringing your foot towards the head. So for example, if I'm in a pigeon pose and I want to bring my foot to my head by grabbing it, you would often think, how is that going to work? It's often, oh, I cannot reach. The way that you take the foot towards the head is all about your hand placement and how you grip onto the foot. So to break it down, first of all, we won't come into any postures. I just want you to get used to placing your hand out in front of you as if you're telling somebody to stop. So the palm presses forwards and that's it. Next, you want to rotate the fingertips away from the midline of the body, so you simply turn the fingertips outwards. From here, you turn the palm upwards as if you're holding a serving plate on your palm. So first, stop. Second, rotate. Third, turn the palm up. And then the fourth one is being able to rotate your wrist forwards so that the fingertips go back towards the back of the mat. Try that a few times and try it on both sides. So again, stop, rotate, serving tray, and then rotate. So as you notice, as I rotate, my wrist and the inside of my wrists face towards you. Whereas the original position, the wrist is pointing down towards the ground. Now, if you do this on one side and you actually place your hand onto the shoulder, you'll start to notice how the shoulder moves. The shoulder is a ball and socket joint, which means it has the most amount of movement in comparison to any other joint within the body. With this means it's very vulnerable. A ball and socket joint is usually the joint that is injured the most, so I want you to be super careful when you're taking these transitions. Another pro tip that you can take before coming into any asana practice, especially if you're very stiff, is oiling your joints before you practice. This is a practice of Ayurveda. So if you find yourself very stiff before when you're getting on the mat, just give yourself a little bit of rub with coconut oil. If you're quite hot and you're usually hot to touch, then I would recommend a cooling based oil, which is coconut. If you're more on the colder side and you're usually quite cold, then you can use a heating oil such as sesame, and this will help your body to loosen up. So again, let's take the palm out in front of us, place the opposite hand onto the shoulder. Then we turn the fingertips out, we make a tray, and then we rotate the fingertips back. And now the movement of the shoulder itself is very subtle when you do that. You might not feel much. It's very subtle. Now, the next part is learning to take the elbow back. Okay, so your elbow wants to switch back in space so that the foot can come towards the head. I'm going to demonstrate this in a pigeon pose so you can see how it should look. First of all, we find our pigeon. Do not worry if half of my back leg is cut out. The foot will be in the frame very soon. So in order to put this into action, I want to pick up my back foot and then again I want to try and reach back, okay? Now in order to reach back and to grab the foot, you need to bring the toes out to the side. If the toes are facing back towards the back of the mat, it means you have to reach much farther back. And if you have very stiff joints, it's going to be a little bit cranky on the body, okay? So if you bring the toes towards the mat, off the mat rather, like so, as you can see my toes are facing towards the camera, it means I have less distance to catch. Now we place all of those movements into action. I take my hand out into a stop sign, I turn my palm, fingertips out, and then I turn my palm up and I bring my wrist forwards. Now what that allows me to do is to grab the foot from underneath, as you can see. So we're not going to reach back and grab the top of the foot, but my hand wants to be underneath the toes. Meaning, the toes are facing downwards, my hand wants to be underneath them, as you can see. So the hand is not on the top flat bit of the base of the foot, the hand wants to be underneath. I'm just going to come a little closer, hopefully this little recording will work. So I make myself a little shorter, the toes go out to the side, my palm is going to make a flat, so it's a serving tray, and I'm going to simply place my hand underneath the top of the foot. And now this is where some of you might get a little bit sticky, okay? You might think, oh my gosh, how can that work? If I shuffle back a little bit, we now have to piece all of that into place to be able to get the foot to the head. If you are feeling stiff, you might feel a little bit like this, what to do? Your elbow now has to face the ceiling. This can only be achieved with a deep breath. If you are not breathing, then all of the muscles in the lower back may get cramped up, and then you may come to class next week and say that you have lower back pain, okay? So when you are moving the foot towards the head, it's done on a huge inhale, and then you arrive. To demonstrate, I bring my foot up, I turn my toes out, I make a stop sign with my hand, and I turn the fingertips out to the side, make a serving tray, and then I slide that hand underneath the foot. Make sure you've got a good grip. If you cannot reach all the way, then you can also grab a sock and place the sock underneath the foot. If you do have room to take the thumb or the whole hand, some people might only be able to grab a little bit of the foot. Eventually, with more practice, you'll be able to slide the whole hand under. Now from here, I'm going to take a deep breath in, start to rotate my elbow up, and then I can arch back and take the foot towards the head. Again, this posture can be done in various different forms. You can also do this same posture. Again, this might cut out my head a little bit, but you can do the same thing in Natyendrasana by standing, grabbing the foot, leaning, and taking the foot towards the head. You can also practice this on your tummy, forearm down, grabbing one foot, and then lifting the foot into a half Dhanurasana. Of course, with more practice, you can do both feet at the same time, and you can come into a full Dhanurasana, like so. Deep breath in, flip, and kick. This is one of those transitions that does take a lot of time, especially if you don't quite understand the step-by-steps. So take it easy, try and enjoy, and if you do have any questions, please feel free to bring me a message.